extraordinary events of my life, all the fortunes and misfortunes of my life, didn't seem to make any sense. They seemed to have no purpose or be connected. And many times I was like filled with joy about the possibility of my life, about the great things that would happen in my life, only to see them plunge and become ashes. And this happened many, many times over and over in my life, and it may have sound familiar to you. Maybe that's something that's happened in your own life. I want you to know that those things don't make sense at first until you finally connect with what is the purpose in your life. And then looking back over my life, all of it made perfect sense, as if it had been designed perfectly by some higher intelligence than mine to give me the precise experiences and knowledge and strengths that I would need to fulfill on what my life really is about. I don't think I could have designed it or made it up better. So all of those things that seem like misfortunes in my life suddenly are treasures, and I wouldn't trade them for anything or do them differently. I have no regrets, I have no guilt, I have no shame about the things that I've done or not done in my life, because they have all been beautifully synchronized and performed in a way that made me who I am today. I'm here today to fulfill on my purpose, which is to make a difference with you in your life. One of the things that I have come across in the classes that I've been doing and the work that I've been doing is I've been looking for how is it that I could help people to get in touch with the purpose of their own life. Because like I said before, once you're in touch with that purpose, once you start living that purpose and fulfilling on that purpose, then all of the other circumstances of your life seem to shift and change and line up so that you could fulfill that purpose. Because I can tell you this, that the universe, God, higher intelligence, whatever you want to call it, your truer self, your higher self, whatever that intelligence is that is actually holding the universe together in a very intelligent way, that is seeming chaos, that actually when you look deeper into it, I think that's what the fascination is with scientists, is that there's this extreme order that is happening in the midst of all the chaos, as if it were choreographed. When you begin to fulfill your purpose and work and live towards your purpose, then all of the things of your life will line up so that that can be fulfilled. And even the things that look like obstacles will only appear as an opportunity to fulfill on something even greater or to become bigger or stronger. That's what I want to talk about today. And all of a sudden, all of the phone lines have lit up. So I'm going to start taking calls.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. I'm calling you from Germany.
Wow.
And I would like to talk to you about some problem that I have with my young daughter.
Your daughter, yes.
She's a very lovely young woman.
How old is she?
She's 23 years old.
Okay.
And now she is a student, and she works, and now she got a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. That this boyfriend is just somebody that I and my husband don't agree with him. And I know that, and I have heard it from auditor, that we are not the one that should love the guy. We are the one.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? If you liked him too, it would be nice. But she's the one that's chosen him.
But you know that's what I really need, this help to be able to accept this person and to be able to have a good relationship with my daughter.
Yes.
There is one problem, and on the other side, I'm just wondering about somebody has told me about maybe she has some kind of problem like borderline personality. I would also like to hear from you what is this problem, this personality disorder, and how it might affect her choice of finding a boyfriend and having friends. I would like to hear your...
okay. Can I ask you a couple of questions?
And your, yes.
I need to know a little bit, a couple of things. This person that talked about borderline personality, whatever, are they a therapist or a person who is clinically, the person who said this about your daughter?
Yeah, I'm talking about the person who said that is a psychologist.
Is a psychologist?
Yes.
And is this psychologist, has this psychologist worked with and treated your daughter?
No, no, she didn't treat. She was a friend of ours, and she talked us that she might have some kind of this personality. Mm-hmm. And so since I've heard that, I'm wondering if really is this problem.
Well, with all respect to your friend and to another professional, a clinical term like that, there's very distinct things that describes, okay? So to toss out a term like that sounds kind of scary, right?
Right.
Without actually having done a proper analysis is somewhat irresponsible. So I say that with all respect, but it's irresponsible, period. Mm-hmm. Okay? To use those kinds of clinical terms without a proper analysis. So first of all, I just want to say that, okay? And about that personality disorder thing, okay? And the other thing I want to say about the personality thing is that don't you have several personalities? I do.
Of course.
We all do. So it's natural and normal that that every human being has several different personalities that they're just there, right? That we adapt and use. There are ways of our adapting and using our natural talents and expressions in different situations. So if you were at an elegant black tie event, right? You have a certain personality that's totally different than if you're sitting around your living room with your best friends, having coffee. Yes? It's not the same personality at all. And two different people, if we came and watched you with a video camera here and then watched you with a video camera there, it'd almost appear like two totally different people. And then you may be another different person when you're alone with your husband or boyfriend, okay? It might be someone totally different. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that different personality thing because we all have different personalities. And I promise you, who she is with when she's with her boyfriend and who she is with her parents is really different. And that would be normal. Wouldn't you think? Would you agree that would be normal for her to be different with her boyfriend than she is with you?
Right, but no, this kind of the problem is just, she's sometimes very much aggressive, and sometimes, this kind of very not very strong and stable character. Mm-hmm. That makes me a little bit scary about this attitude, and I'm worried about it. That might make her to have not a right choice.
Okay.
Not to have, and I see that. How can I help her to become more stable? How can I help her to find a better choice?
This better choice thing is only about you, okay? The better choice thing is only about you. I'm going to ask you another question about the boyfriend. Is your reason for not liking the boyfriend, is he doing anything that's illegal, immoral, unethical, or dangerous to her?
Of course not.
Or dangerous to his health or her health? Illegal, immoral, unethical, dangerous to your health?
No, not that. But
none of that. Okay, so hear me out. He's 22 also? How old is he?
No, he's 28.
He's 28. Well, if he's in that condition at that age, and that again is only your observation, okay? I don't know that you know the whole truth about what he's up to in his life and what he's doing. You may or you may not. I'm going to assume that you're well informed if you're making these judgments.
Yes,
that you're well informed. So if that is the case at 28 years old, whether I agree with you or not, that it's not a great choice, it's her choice.
Yes.
Okay, so there's kind of a dilemma here as a parent, isn't there? Because while you don't agree with her choice, do you agree that she has a right to make a choice?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
She has a right to make a choice.
That, no?
She has a right to make a choice, doesn't she?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that alone is all you need to know. She has a right to make a choice. Now, you, as her mother, certainly would want to influence her, and you've had a chance. You've had 22 years, to influence her to make the right kinds of choices. You and her father, does she live with her father? Is the father part of your family?
Yes, yes.
So
Also listening you.
Okay, great.
Watching you.
Okay, great. Well, then good. That way I can speak with both of you, because little girls grow up to try to marry men either like their fathers or as different from their fathers as they can possibly be. The father or the opposite sex caregiver, okay, whether it's a father or a stepfather or an uncle, has a great deal of influence on the choice that we eventually make in life. Okay?
Yes, that's true.
They have a great deal of influence.
Yes,
so, you know, it's my highest desire for you and your husband and your daughter that she would make a good choice about a man who is honorable, who respects and protects women and children, who provides, who not only provides for his family, but actually provides something for society, for the world. That, in other words, the world is a better place because he's here. That would be my highest desire for you and for her, and also for this young man. Now, if he hasn't figured out what his life's about yet, at 28 years old, then that's not very unusual. Most men, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, okay, it's not for me to say, but most men are usually around somewhere between 30 to 33 before they actually come into a type of maturity in which they go, this is what my life's about, this is what I stand for, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm not so good at, this is what I want to do with my life, this is, you know, what I would do for free because I'm passionate about it. So it takes a few years for men. Women get to that place much sooner. They usually get there around 27, 28 years old. Women are like kind of ahead of men and have figured that kind of thing out. But it takes men a little bit longer to come into that space. So at 28 years old, that he doesn't know what his life's about and that he has no point of view or purpose to his life, apparently, is not that big of a deal in my world anyhow. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Think that you would want her to marry him at this time, and at 22, that's way too young to get married.
Yes, that's true.
It's way too young to get married.
Yes.
But it is a time in life that it's appropriate. It is appropriate for your growth and development to go out there and try things out, make mistakes, get your heart broken. You know, you're not going to be able to avoid your daughter getting her heart broken. Did you know that? No matter who she chooses, he's going to break her heart. And no matter who he chooses, she's going to break his heart. People don't get through life. Did you get your heart broken in life?
Of course.
So have I, many times. You know what? If you love, you're going to have your heart broken. You know, if you love someone, sooner or later you're going to get hurt. Okay? That's just how it is. And it's both, you know, that's what's beautiful about it, and that's what keeps people from engaging and loving. You know, they try to get through life without getting hurt. And, you know, that's called living death as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. I'd much rather go out and skin my knees and fall down and get back up and be stronger. And, you know, one of the things that Azita said to me that was a crucial thing when, you know, we were dating and I was first trying to decide whether or not I should propose to her and that kind of thing, right? And we were playing at something, I don't remember what. Then I suddenly got quiet. I had never been happier. I was in this total state of happiness and playing with somebody that I totally cared about, and we were roughhousing and wrestling around and having fun. And all of a sudden I stopped and I got quiet, and she said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "You know, I'm just afraid that I will love you so much that then you'll break my heart." And she stopped everything and she looked me straight in the eye and she said, "I will break your heart. If you love me, sooner or later your heart will get broken and you will break mine too." So is that a reason to stop? Mm-hmm. Yeah? So yeah, strangely enough, I fell in love with her right on the spot, all over again. Because what she said was true, and it rung true in my heart. I knew it was true. Mm-hmm. You know? And she was really calling me, are you going to be courageous in love, or are you going to shrink away? So this may seem a little roundabout as to your answer, as to answering your question, because you were asking me, how can I help my daughter make a better choice? But I think it's not the right question you should be asking. Do you know? Mm. It's not the right question. It's not a question that is going to make any difference, because no matter what you do, and you have done a lot in 22 years, you and her husband have done your best, I'm sure. I'm sure you're great parents and you've given your best. You wouldn't be making this call if you didn't love her to death.
Right.
So I'm sure you've given her your best. And what I say to all parents is, you know, your children are not yours. Your children are loaned to you for a while for you to help, prepare, and take care of. But your children belong to life, you know.
Right.
If you believe in God, then they belong to God. They belong to the universe. It's the universe's life expressing itself, and it has a right to make its choices and make its mistakes. So how can I help her make better choices? I believe you've already done your best, you know. Your job is to aim the arrow, and I know you aimed for a bullseye, but when you let the arrow go, after it's released, it goes where it goes, you know.
Yeah, but that's the problem of, you know, it's very cultural. We, as Iranian, especially, you know, Iranian parents, we always think that we are responsible for our children all our life. But now we're living here, and I understand what you're talking. It's true. We should let them go and live their life. But at this moment, it's just the problem that we have with ourselves and this culture that we are grown up, and the way that we have been treated, and the way that is our sometimes it was our software, and now it's our hardware. So
I know, it like rips your heart out or something, doesn't it?
Right.
But you must, well, so because you grew up and you got married and you became parents and then your children grew up, does that mean that your learning experience in life is over? No. For you, in many ways, it has just begun.
Right.
Right? At your age, now that your children have grown, they will become your teachers. And she's teaching you right now something that is hard for you to learn.
Yeah, that's true. It's a nice way to look at it.
And it might be painful. You know, life's lessons are not necessarily pleasant always. And in fact, for some reason, we as human beings choose to learn from our painful experiences rather than our pleasurable ones. The pleasurable ones we tend to forget, you know?
Right.
But we remember the painful ones, and so we learn from them. So, too bad. That's how it seems to work around here.
That's the way it is, right?
As children, we learn from fun experiences. But as we get older, we forget the fun experiences and start learning from the painful ones. So this is one of those painful ones where you have to learn to release and love. And of course, you're going to guide her in any way you can. But as long as she's made this choice, the best thing you can do is, I love you. I don't agree with your choice, but I set you free to make your choices and make your mistakes. And if there's anything that you need or would like, or you run into trouble, I'm there. I'm your mother. I will always be there. And I'm your father. I'll always be there. And but you'll need to call on me. I can't go and make your choices for you anymore.
Okay.
You got your job done. Good.
Thank you.
Good job. You got your job done. Do you got that?
Yes.
As a parent, you got your job done. She's a good girl. Don't worry about her. And this personality disorder thing, unless she's doing something extremely bizarre, then I wouldn't, you know, does she have bizarre behavior?
No, actually not. Just this kind
People with that kind of disorder are bizarre. Anybody looking at them would say, that's unusual, that's very strange, right?
Yeah.
It's, okay, personality disorder, okay? All right. Thank you for your call. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Gregory Morgan, and you're on the air.
Yes. My name is Masood. I'm calling from Canada.
Canada?
Yeah, Canada, Toronto. And I have a question about, at the beginning of the show, I was listening to your show. You were saying something about what's the purpose of being in this work.
Yes.
And how did you come across and find that path? I mean, how did you come across that so you could see your path behind clear?
I'm so glad that you asked me that, because I have some questions here that I hope that people will get out a pencil and paper or some kind of pen and write down these 3 questions, because I believe they're very important questions to ask one's self, because they help you get to your purpose.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So They may seem very simple, but the very best way to ask these questions is to write them down.
Okay.
And then hand the list to a trusted friend.
Okay.
All right?
There's got to be 2 copies, you mean?
Well, no, you don't need that copy because you're going to be answering the questions.
Yeah.
They're going to be asking them to you, because you can ask a question to yourself, but it's a lot different if another live human being is asking you the question.
Okay.
So this is an exercise for helping you to get to your purpose in life.
All right.
So for those of you who are watching and who would like to get connected with your purpose in life, I propose these questions, which I learned from one of my mentors, Mark Victor Hansen, one of the producers and authors of Chicken Soup for the Soul series,
Okay.
and a great speaker and a great man. So the first question is, what do you want?
Yeah.
Very simple. What do you want? Then you can put in whatever word you want. What works for me is God. What is God's destiny for your life?
What is God? That's the second question, isn't it?
What is God's destiny for your life? So what is the universe's destiny, or whatever you believe in? But I say God because that works for me. What is God's destiny for your life? And here's the one that's, what are you pretending not to know? What are you pretending not to know? What are you pretending not to know? All right?
Yeah.
So here's the exercise. You sit down with your friend in a private place, someplace where you won't be disturbed, the phone won't ring or anything like that. And here's the instructions. They're very simple. You're going to tell your friend, here's my list of questions. I want you to ask me these questions. Ask me the question, number 1, for 5 minutes. Okay? So they're going to say, what do you want? And then you're going to tell them a sentence. And then they're going to say, thank you. What do you want? And then you're going to do it again, and they're going to go, great, thank you. I got that. What do you want? And they're going to just keep asking you the same question over and over for 5 minutes. You will be amazed at what will happen, because it'll change. Now, your job isn't to just say the same thing over and over and drive yourself crazy. Each time, look newly. Look at the question from a brand new place each time. What do you want? Then they're going to say, what's God's destiny for your life? And then you just say whatever comes to your mind. Doesn't have to be right. There's no way you can mess this exercise up or do it wrong. All you do is answer the question. When it's over, when you've answered the question, they say, great, what's God's destiny for your life? And you just keep doing that. What are you pretending not to know? And you keep doing that. What will come up, the answers that will come out will be deeper and deeper and deeper than you've ever looked before. And you'll do this. The whole exercise takes 15 minutes. And at the depth of that exercise, you will see your life in a wholly new way. Sound good?
Yeah.
I'm for fast, easy, direct path.
Okay, that's going to be experience, but I don't know. I have to...
You have to find a friend that won't think you're crazy, okay? And then do it with them, right?
I will, okay.
All right?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Anyway, Gregory.
Thanks for your call. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yes, bye.
Bye-bye. Hello. I'm Gregory Morgan, and you're live on the air.
Oh, this is great. This is the first time I can reach this number. I don't have any question, but the only thing that I want to call you to let you, both of you know that it's a wonderful to have you, both of you, to this meeting for all of us, especially the Iranian community. And this is just my small testimony of myself to you for your show and for other Iranian. That's what my purpose of my life is. Just when you said that is for you is God, it's definitely for me is the same. And also for my family, that is just the best model of our life is just how to follow him. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, both of you, to whatever you're saying is matched to everything that I practice and I believe and I really adore to what I'm doing in my life. And the only things that is just inspiring me, your show, is to how your words, how your wife works.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for the love and for living your purpose in life.
Sure, and more power to you.
Thank you, thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for that call. It really means a lot to me, and I just want to clarify that even though I mentioned the word God in my purpose statement, this is in no way a religious show. It's educational, and if anything that I say works for you, please try it on and use it in your own life. And if it doesn't work for you, well, that's fine too. You know, you don't have to try it on. Okay? Hello, you're on the air.
From Dallas. I just
Another.
let you know that I am one of you and your wife's fans, that I always see your program. And I really love the way that you always have a spiritual solution to every problem that people have. And you just don't have the knowledge, you have the wisdom. Because as you said, you cannot really believe in what you believe in unless you have the wisdom beside knowledge. And that is what I really appreciate in your approach to therapy. And what I was really loved the way that last time that you made a statement in your. Are you still with me?
Yes, I'm here. I'm
in your previous session, you said that your father was your greatest teacher because that how you used that challenge in order to overcome the problems that he produced for you when you were in your childhood.
Yes.
So I really wanted to know how you used that kind of, you see those CDs that you had about how to deal with it, with your unfinished business of your childhood regarding to these kind of issues that you were pointing out regarding to your father. I was wondering if you can a little bit describe how that unfinished business of childhood is related to these issues. Is that possible?
Yes, I can say a few words about that.
Pardon?
Yes, of course. I'd be happy to talk about that.
Yes, and I really, really love the way your approach to therapy. Really, really. And I miss your wife today, but I wish her best, and I really appreciate your program, and I really love the way of your approach to therapy. Good luck to you and your wife. Good luck.
So we're aligned on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll respond to your question here. I've spent the last 30 years studying and practicing just about everything that you can imagine, from quantum physics to Taoism to various religions and philosophies throughout the world, and many forms or disciplines of psychology. So I don't consider myself to be a psychologist, although many people honor me by referring to me as one. I consider myself to be a teacher. I'm somebody who's gathered a lot of information from all over the world and from many, many walks and disciplines and cultures of life, and have integrated them into my own life. And you know, they say we teach what we most need to learn. Everything that I'm teaching as an educator, I've needed to learn myself, and I desperately needed to learn it. You know, and there's a point at which, at some point, if you're not giving away your knowledge and sharing your knowledge with other people, then it's just knowledge. But knowledge shares, when knowledge is shared, it becomes wisdom. If it makes a difference, if it works, then that's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm committed to, and that's what I offer, is just what I've found has worked in my own life. You know, just about every one of these situations that people have called up, although I have to admit there's some situations from the Iranian culture that I've never come across, so I've had to like deal with it in my own family with Azita's family, you know, with our Iranian family, my in-laws. So I've learned a lot from that culture, from your culture. You were wondering if I could say a little bit about how to integrate some of those things into our lives. I believe that you always, if you can tap into what it is that you know inside, have a small voice that is always telling you exactly what you need to know. And it's just that the whole rest of the world is so loud and blaring and demands our attention and focus so much that we forget to listen, and that it's very important to take some time each and every day, like a discipline, and maybe several times a day. I do several times a day, every opportunity I have, to just listen to the inside, because what's in there, is very rich, and everything I need to know is in there. So it's not some stack of knowledge and information that I've accumulated that makes any difference here. It's what wants to be said, and how I know what wants to be said is I just listen to my voice inside, and you have that same voice, each and every one of you, and so I urge you to listen to it, and to find some times and to find ways to begin to hear it and allow that to come out. And our last caller, I'm going to spend a very brief amount of time on this because the lines are just blinking, and I know some of you are holding for a long time now. She alluded to that my father basically beat the heck out of me when I was a kid, and that's how they raised kids in Oklahoma when I was growing up in the 50s. If you talk back to your dad, you would find yourself landing on the other side of the room really quick. And I had a big mouth, and I was very rebellious, and I talked back to my dad a lot, so I got knocked around a lot. And I finally figured out that the best way to not get knocked around is to not talk back to my dad, because you just did not disrespect the man. He wouldn't put up with it. I'm not making excuses for him, and I certainly don't think that people should knock their kids around, but it was traumatic to me, and I acknowledged on one of our previous shows that the trauma from those events and it has driven me to search the world over and spend many, many, many hours and years in seminars and workshops and study groups and intensive weekends and therapy and practice and martial arts and many, many fields of endeavor to search for a way to heal myself, and then also so that I could share that with the world. So one of the things that I am is I am a certified trauma release therapist. I am able to go into a person's body, they have to be present, and release trauma that has been stored there for years and years. So I'm going to go ahead and take some calls, okay? Hello, you're on the air. This is Gregory Morgan. How are you?
Hello, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
My question is that I have a 7.5-year-old daughter.
Yes.
That she is biting her finger most of the time, especially, when she is watching TV or reading books. And
all of her fingers or just one of them?
No, just one, with one hand, that's all. And whenever I tell her not to do that and this is not good and stuff, she gets worse and worse. So I finally gave up, and I thought that with giving up, she's going to quit that too, but it hasn't been yet. So I was wondering if you can help me with that.
How old is she?
How to deal with it.
How old is she?
She is 7.5 years old.
That's getting a little late in life to be chewing on your finger. How, is she like put the whole finger in her mouth, or what does she do?
No, just one finger. Or two fingers with one hand, that's it.
But is it the index finger?
Yes.
Which finger is it?
The one...
the middle finger?
Next to the thumb. No, the one next to the thumb.
Index finger, this one?
Yes.
Okay, good.
No, there you go.
This one right here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I got that. The reason I'm asking you about the fingers, it may not seem like it makes any difference, but actually all of the fingers have different significance.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you do with your index finger? You point, right?
Right.
So if you couldn't talk, right?
Uh-huh.
One of the main ways that you would communicate with the world would be with what? If you
your finger.
Right? You
right.
could point to things, you could do things with it, right?
Yes.
So it is one of the digits that is the most intimately connected to right here. If I said point to yourself, you wouldn't point with your little finger, right? You would point with this, right? If I would say show me what you want, you would point with this, right? You wouldn't point with any of the other fingers, right? It's directly connected to the heart line. This finger is connected to the heart.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
So anytime anybody touches their head in any way, okay, it has a different significance. So for example, people that talk like this, they kind of cover their mouth when they're talking, or they make gestures towards their mouth while they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe what they're saying. If you talk to someone and you notice they keep gesturing around their mouth or doing something, anything around their mouth that covers the mouth in any way while they're talking, What they're saying is that they don't really believe what they're saying.
Okay.
That's what their body is unknowingly telling you. Okay?
Uh-huh.
We all know what this means, right? It's a universal signal. Everybody knows what this means.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
When people are trying to remember something, they touch the side of their head. Yes?
Right, right, exactly.
So these are universal. You'll find them everywhere. Okay? Touching the head has a specific significance. Now, what I can tell you is that it is generally reinforcing something.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the one about masking the mouth. It's actually trying to keep you from telling lies. Right?
Right.
Your body is instinctively trying to keep you from saying something not true by doing this.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So this is the heart. She's putting it in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now,
Right.
I don't know if any of this is going to help you to help her not to do it, but it might help you understand something.
I do. I
And
really.
as her mother, I think you will instinctively know what's missing.
Yes.
She is reinforcing her own heart. Now, the other thing, if you had no hands at all, what would be your connection to the world?
Mm-hmm.
Your mouth.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Oxygen, food, words, everything's happening through here. Right?
Right.
It's also kind of a sexual thing because your first interaction with the world is with the mother's breast, and so there's a sort of sensual nourishment from the world, you know, and there's an expression that goes out into the world through the mouth. So her connection to the world, right?
Right.
And her connection to the heart, she's reinforcing it by sticking her finger in her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, there's something that she's reinforcing. Now, if it was her thumb, it would be something else, and if it was a different finger, it would be something else. But I'm telling you that in her heart, she needs some reinforcement. She feels fragile in her heart. And in the world, her connection to the world, which is her teeth and her mouth and her tongue,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Right.
is nourishing that somehow. She's reinforcing that by sticking it in her mouth. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Now, you can try to break her of that habit, right? Or you could get to the source of why she's doing it in the first place, which is sort of an unspoken, subconscious way of, she's actually is speaking with her body.
Mm-hmm.
She's telling you something. Whether she knows it or not, she's not aware of it.
Right.
Okay? And then there's the part about it that, well, it just becomes a habit, and after a while, it's like everything else. You know, you've done it so long and so much that you don't feel right unless you're doing it.
Right.
Right? We all have habits like that, and, you know. But this particular one, sticking any part of the hand or sticking things in our mouth is always a communication about something that's missing, and in this case, this is the heart line.
Mm-hmm.
It's connected straight to right here. You can just try it yourself. Wherever you are, just hold out your finger,
Mm-hmm.
and you can feel it's coming straight from your heart, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, now feel the energy on the end of your finger, and then just turn it towards your heart. You'll see something. You'll see it feels good.
I am doing it. You're right.
It feels good, right?
Uh-huh.
So it almost makes you want to stick it in your mouth, right? Because it feels good.
God.
So, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it's self-referential. It's reinforcing itself.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Okay.
That's the best I can tell you about that. This is a signal. The body is saying something.
Right.
So if you just cut off the signal without dealing with the source of it,
Mm-hmm.
all you've done is stop that behavior. It'll start some other behavior.
I did.
Ask her if she feels vulnerable. Ask her if there's anything that you can do to help her feel more secure.
Exactly. I told her, I said, Mommy, are you nervous? Is there anything wrong? And she goes, no, because I told her, whenever I'm nervous, I scratch my head. I play with my hair, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what you do?
Yes, yes.
Right, you touch, because you're reinforcing yourself.
Exactly.
Right? This is a way of reinforcement. Any touching of the head is a way, and if you got really down into the science of it, and I have, what part of the head you touch will tell you what the person's reinforcing. I don't have time to go into that now, but
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does help me because, as you said, whenever I cannot talk and I have so many things to say, but I can't. I just play with my hair and then scratching and stuff. But I asked her, but it didn't help, so I gave up. But what I noticed was that whenever that she goes to school, most of the time that she comes back, she has that habit. And I thought that must be something wrong at the school. And I talked to her. I said, anything wrong? Anybody bothering you? Any friend? Anything? She goes, no. And I feel like that she's scared to tell me because that happened before. And she told me, and I just, talked to that person and, asked why that happened and blah, blah. And I think she was embarrassed.
Well, and she may have gotten some retribution.
And what is that?
Well, I'm sorry. Revenge. Maybe somebody. Maybe after you went and confronted this person, maybe they came back to her and said, "If you ever do that again, I'm going to get you."
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so. But she's kind of shy, and not verbal, and I know her, and because of that, I make her to talk to me and tell me what's going on, but she doesn't because. One time she came to me and said something, and she said, "Mommy, promise me you're not going to go tell my teacher." She told me something about her teacher, and I said, "Promise, I tell you if you don't tell my teacher." And I said, "Oh my God, this is this something that she's telling me, and I have done something wrong maybe." So I don't know how to deal with that, but I am glad that you told me that there's some things that she cannot talk about it, and I have to be more easy to her.
Well. It's not that she can't talk about it. She can talk about it if it's safe enough to talk, but she may not even know herself what's going on. You know?
Exactly.
Do you know everything that you're nervous about? I don't. Sometimes I find myself being nervous, and I have to stop and go, "What am I so afraid of? What am I resisting?"
Right.
What is it that wants to happen, and I'm like trying to keep it from happening. So then I get nervous because. Try to keep life from happening, right? You can't do it. It happens how it happens.
Exactly. So what do you suggest at the end?
In the end?
Yeah.
Like a behavioral modification technique?
Uh-huh.
Well, I think that behavioral modification works with dogs and stuff like that, right? If you wanted to train an animal, and it certainly would work with humans to a certain extent, like you can teach people to go to the potty and stuff like that.
Right.
But you have to find something that is a reward rather than a punishment.
Like what?
Well, I'm going to let you figure that out, okay? I'm going to let you figure that out. But there's something that, people respond to pleasure much better than they respond to pain, especially, especially in that age. Most of us have been trained that if there's enough pain, then we'll stop doing it. Well, have you ever seen that to be true?
Yes.
Rarely. Right? Because people have an enormous capacity for pain, especially when it comes to their bad habits.
Right. Reward works better.
Reward always works better. So there has to be something that looks better to her, and when it starts looking better to her, and she's not so afraid about it in her heart, because it's her heart that's feeling vulnerable. That's why she's doing that. Don't forget that. So I want you, as her mother, who knows her better than anybody on the planet and always will, right, to listen to your heart and use your heart to listen to her heart and let her heart tell you, if I could speak out loud, what would it say? If her heart could talk in words rather than actions like this, what would it try to say? So what is this gesture saying? What is it crying out for? What does it need? That's my best advice to you.
Right.
That gets to the source of it. Altering someone's behavior, I think it's like superficial. Right?
Right.
I get to the source of why someone's behaving that way, and then, what do you know? The behavior totally disappears. Got it?
Right.
Yeah, get to the source of what the behavior's about, and the behavior will disappear. Something's not being heard.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay?
Yeah, the way that I was doing it, I guess it was wrong, because I even told her that, okay, you need pacifier, I'll go buy you pacifier. So that's like,
something's not getting heard. Her heart is not getting something that it wants and needs. So you are better positioned than me or anybody else
Right.
To hear that and to know what that is and to give it to her.
Okay.
Okay?
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Morgan. How are you?
Good.
First of all, thank you so much for being there. Well, there is a problem that I would like to discuss with you.
Okay.
It's regarding a relationship, obviously, since you're an expert in that department. I have been married for almost 4 years. And, the relationship started pretty honest. I thought it was honest, at least. I trusted my husband. I loved and adored him, and I married him for that reason. Several years later, which is just a couple of months ago, I found out that he has been lying to me regarding a lot of his activities, and he admitted to me that he's been lying. And I did decide to obviously forgive him and give him a second chance. He has made promises before that he's broken, but I just decided to, overlook those and see how it's going to work out this time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's been very difficult because it's hard for me to believe anything he says right now.
Yes.
Basically, I question it. I look back, and once he admitted to me that he's been lying to me, when I look back, I just, every time he says something right now, I just think like he's lying again. And I've been asking him, are you telling me the truth? And, he says yes, and he tries to prove himself, and he's trying really hard to work at it and just make, things right with me. But deep down inside, it's really hurting me, and it's broken my heart. So tell me, as a relationship expert, what do you think I should do?
Well, thank you for your question. Let me ask you a couple of questions, okay? These things that he's been lying about, that he came forward with, are any of them immoral, unethical, illegal?
I would definitely say yes, they're immoral.
Or dangerous?
Dangerous to our financial, definitely.
Okay. Now, immoral is a big interpretation, okay? Generally, human beings kind of pretty much agree about what is moral and what is not, right? And so I won't go into a big interpretation of what that is, but would another person observing from the outside agree with you that that's an immoral thing?
Definitely.
Okay, great. I got it. Probably is then.
Yes.
By society standards, by normally accepted standards.
That's correct.
Okay. So how about unethical?
Well, I definitely consider it unethical.
Okay, I would too if he's lying to his wife.
If he was single, it may not have been unethical.
Yeah.
But now that he's married and he has a family, I would definitely consider it unethical.
Okay, great. Is it illegal?
No.
Okay. Is it dangerous to your health or his health?
Not health-wise, no. I wouldn't.
Okay, got it. No. So, great. So that just begins to distinguish that he did something. Doesn't sound like he's proud of it.
Definitely not.
That he finally got the courage. I bet it took a lot of courage for him to finally tell you about it. I'm sure he wants your forgiveness and that you say you have forgiven him.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the forgiveness part, and then I want to address this other thing that you said about see how it works out. That was a very key phrase in something that you said. Okay? And the forgiveness thing, I believe, is widely misunderstood. Okay, so I want to talk about forgiveness just for a moment because you give me the opportunity to. Forgiveness is always for the forgiver, not the person who supposedly needs forgiveness, right? The forgiveness is for you. He's done whatever he's done, and he feels however he feels about it, and there's not really much you can do about that anyhow, right? It's outside your ability to influence because it's in the past. And your feelings, his feelings about it are non-negotiable. He feels what he feels, so there's nothing you can do about that either. But what you can do about it is give up forever and in advance. So that's what forgiveness means. I forgive means to mean in advance of, I give in advance, right? I forgive every right that I have, and I have a right to use this against you. To bring it up, to beat you over the head with it, to make you feel guilty about it, to keep mentioning it, to use it as an excuse for being bad to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You give that up. You give up that right for your own sake, really, for your own well-being. Because if you don't give that up, what's it going to cost you? It's going to cost you your emotional well-being. It's going to cost you eventually your health, because your health will deteriorate when you're carrying around something that you're angry and, you know, hostile about and resentful of. You're the one that suffers directly, and I can tell you about that later, but every cell in your body responds to every thought that you have.
That's correct.
And it's immediate. They've demonstrated this in laboratories, okay? Cells respond to thoughts, and it's immediate. There's over 134 different chemicals that are produced by your body, and they wash through your system in response to various thoughts and emotions. So the one thing you really want to do is have your thoughts and emotions pretty clear, pretty fresh, pretty new, not carrying around some old rotten thing that you're resentful about. So your forgiveness is for you. You got that?
Yep.
So I recommend that you really forgive. And when you really forgive, that means you give up the right to forever use that again. And most people, when they say, I forgive you, but you better not do it again, right? That's like, because I've got it in my back pocket, and if this ever comes up, I'm going to whop you over the head with it, right? No, you give that up, right? You give up the right to do that, and you face life as if each situation is new, and that takes a tremendous amount of courage. That's something a warrior would do, right? That's something a warrior would do. Goes into battle, gets hurt, and goes back into battle the next day, because there's something worth fighting for.
That's correct.
Okay? So there's something worth fighting for here. I can hear that you guys love each other and that he loves you. And the other thing I want to say about whatever it is he did, and this is not an excuse. If there's any men listening to this, this is not an excuse for all the stupid things you do. Okay? But I have never met a man that hasn't done a bunch of stupid stuff, especially when it comes to relationships. We're complete idiots. Okay? We're just, you know, men are just idiots when it comes to relationships. And we screw up all the time. And thank God for the women that love us, and thank God for the women that have the courage to allow us to be in their lives and have a second chance when we've done stupid things. But some of the greatest men I know, and I know a lot of great men, I know martial arts masters and enlightened Zen masters, and I know of people in my life that I've come across in my search that you would call great men, some of who you've heard of, and if I told you who they were, you'd be like, wow, right? They've all done stupid stuff. Every one of them. Every one of them have done things that are just embarrassing, you know? And that did not keep them from being a great man. You know, men do stupid stuff, and women do too. But they just seem somehow to... Men forgive it when women do stupid stuff, for the most part. Because they go, well, it seems like something I could have done. Please do forgive him for your sake, and give up the right to use this against him in the future. And as far as learning to trust him again, I can just tell you this. Trust is always a gift. It can never be earned. It can be given. It can be taken away. But love is a gift, and trust is a gift. And trust is the foundation of a loving relationship. You give your trust not because he deserves it, but because you want to live a life of love. It's your gift. Does he deserve it? Who knows, right? Doesn't matter whether he deserves it or not. What matters is whether you give it or not, whether you withhold it or not. You withhold your trust, you withhold your love. You can't love him and not trust him. Sorry. That's a lie. You can't love somebody and not trust them. There's a big confusion about that. Right?
And if it happens again?
Well, just
if I do really try to trust them, and if I do really work on this, and if I give up all my rights, what if he walks all over me again?
Well, I would set some very firm boundaries. Part of loving yourself means trusting yourself, yes? If you trust yourself, if you know yourself and trust yourself, then you love yourself. And only from a basis of trusting and knowing myself can I possibly really trust and love somebody else. Right? If I don't know who I am and I don't trust myself, then how do I know I've got the right person? How do I know I'll respond appropriately when that whatever happens, when circumstances that I can't control or predict happen? How can I trust myself to know what to do? Well, all I can do is love and trust myself, and then whatever comes down the road, I'm just going to deal with it. Now, as far as trusting him is concerned, I would say set a boundary for yourself. You need to let him know on no uncertain terms so that he can trust you, right? If you don't trust yourself, then he's not going to trust you either. And by trusting yourself, here's what I mean, exactly what I mean. You got to know that you will do what you say you will do no matter what. So if you can say to him without any hesitation or doubt in your mind, you ever do that again, and I will leave you. I'll take the children, I'll take you for every cent I can get, and I will leave you. Do you understand me? Don't think for a second that I won't do it. If you can't say that, then you're not a trustable person either. Do you understand me?
Yes, I do.
You've got to trust yourself to be able to say that.
Yes.
Okay? You've got to be able to stand on your front porch and tell somebody, get off of my property. Right? You have to be able to do that and know that you're willing to do whatever it takes to back it up.
I see.
Right? And so without, I use the front porch thing because it demonstrates a sort of boundary, right?
That's correct.
Your yard is your yard, and if you tell somebody to get out of it, they better get out of it. Right?
Yes.
Because you're going to back that up somehow. You're going to deliver on it. So you have to be able to do that with your own body, with your own heart, with your own relationship. You have to be able to say, look, this is a boundary for me. You cross that boundary one time, and that's it. This is going to be the consequences, and then you better be clear of what the consequences are, and you better be willing to do it. Okay?
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I'll withdraw and go sleep in the other room for the next 2 years, or whatever it is. Right? I'm going to take all the money out of the account, or I'm going to take the kids and go to my mother's, and whatever it is. Okay, you have to be willing to back it up, and he has to know that, and he'll know if you're really solid about it. He'll know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
When you trust yourself, you'll be able to trust other people, because you know that no matter what happens, you're going to be able to deal with, from a solid interior core, whatever comes at you. That's how I can get up here and do what I do, because I trust myself.
And you're great at it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Tell your lovely wife we said I and hope she feels better soon.
I'm sure she will. I hope she does too. I'm sure she's going to be great. She's going to be fine.
Have a great day.
All right. Thank you so much.
Nice talking to you.
You bet. Me too.
Bye-bye.
So, bye-bye. Hello, you're on the air. This is Gregory Morgan.
You were discussing about the body language when it
Yes.
that you touch your head.
Yes.
I want to know what is the meaning of touching the top of the forehead and pulling the hair.
This is about stimulating the memory. Okay?
Oh.
Top of the head is about stimulating the certain parts of the memory. There's different parts of the memory. There's short-term memory, there's long-term memory.
Okay.
And usually when we get into our memory,
Okay.
right, we'll reach back to further back in the head.
Okay.
Right? If it's something that we just, like somebody's, like a name that's on the tip of your tongue, right? You might touch your head in the front.
Remember something.
Right? Because it's short-term frontal lobe, front memory, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know about this pulling the hair. I don't know about
Well,
that.
that could be.
That thing. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to make up something. Okay.
Okay. Thank you
All right.
so much, Gregory. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Great. Hello. You're on the air.
Hello, I'm
Hi.
calling from Sweden.
Wow.
I have lived here for 20 years, and I came to Sweden when I was 13 years. So rather is my English or Swedish or Farsi is good.
My French is excellent, but if we speak French and I'm sure yours is too if you live in Sweden, right?
Yes.
But if we speak French, nobody else will understand it. So.
Yes, nobody.
We'll understand each other. So how can I help you?
I hear that you're talking about our purpose in life.
Yes.
I think that's a very interesting question because I think about it all the time.
Good.
And when I was younger, when I was teenager, I thought that my life should be very adventure, go and meet the people and travel to many countries. But now, when I'm getting older, I think the biggest purpose in life is to give love and take love.
Can I ask you something?
Family is very fantastic, and to have a family and child to love.
Yes.
So, I have a relationship with a man for 9 years ago.
You have what?
A relationship
With a man since 9 years, yes?
But it's not a normal relationship. It's almost just sex. Good sex, if I have to say it in Iranian national television.
Well, good. That's better than the alternative, right?
Yes. But I really, when you say that you have to listen to yourself,
yes.
And I really think that he's the one that I want, and he's the one for me.
Well, you've been with him for 9 years, having great sex.
Yes.
It sounds like you got him.
But sex is not all thing in life. I
No,
want
of course
to get
not.
married with him. I want a family.
Yes.
But he has that, I don't know, I think he has a problem to trust and love somebody else in his life. But I'm really trying to get to his heart. I know it sounds stupid because lots of people telling me that I should move on with my life, but I just cannot do it. I know you have heard from so many women, especially Iranian women, that they say, I love him, I love him.
Yeah.
But I think that he's the one for me. So I don't know. Do you think I'm stupid to want to really try for him?
No, not at all. No. I just think you've gone about it in a way that is going to be difficult to address. Because we as men can be pretty satisfied and fulfilled with just having a great sexual relationship with a woman, especially if we don't have to support her financially or take care of her kids or deal with her parents or any of that. If there's virtually no obligation on our part, and we get to enjoy the privileges and the pleasure of having a woman intimately and having her emotionally bonded with us, that is like having all of the privileges of marriage with none of the obligations. So it's a pretty good deal, right? If you saw a really beautiful house that you loved and you went there and said, wow, what a beautiful house, and the people said, well, just come on in and live here, right? Just live here, and 9 years later you really love the place. You've kind of got all your stuff moved in there and you're all set up and it starts to feel like home, and you can't imagine yourself living anywhere else, right? And then one day they say, well, we'd like you to buy the place. You've lived here so much, we want you to go on ahead and pay for it. Like make a commitment. If you're going to live here, like now I want you to deliver, what the house is worth. How would you, that'd be a pretty hard sell, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Do you understand me?
Yes, I understand you.
Why should he pay for and make a commitment to something that he already has without any obligations? Does he have any obligations with you?
Me to give him the ultimatum to...
Does he have any obligations with
vision.
you? Does he have any obligations with you?
Actually, no.
Do you own any property together? Does he help you financially? Anything?
No, nothing.
Nothing whatsoever. Why should he now start to have obligations from his point of view? I understand your point of view, and I support you entirely, but you got to look from his point of view.
Yes, I understand how do you mean, because he's 41 and I'm 33, and we began to learn each other from other friends, and we used to hang out, and I have been in other relationships, he has been in other relationships, and we get back together anyway.
Right.
So he hasn't been married, he hasn't any children, neither I. So
How old?
What I hope that...
How old are you and how old is he?
He is 41, I am 33.
Okay. And this has been going on for about 8 years, right? Isn't that what you said?
9 years.
Pardon me?
9 years.
9 years. 9 years. Okay. This is not an easy situation to turn around, and whatever I tell you, you probably aren't going to like, because it will be difficult. Are you willing to do whatever it takes?
Yes, I am ready.
Because there's no quick fix to this one, okay?
No, I know.
There's no quick fix to this one.
No.
I would stop. Oh, so you ready for my advice?
Yes, I
Okay.
am ready.
You need to stop having sex with him altogether.
Okay.
Okay? And you don't just cut him off and say, no, anymore. You need to tell him, you need to create some context or some understanding around that. And it might go something like this. You don't have to say exactly what I say, but you need to say something that has the same meaning. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I love you. I can't imagine spending my life with anyone else. I want to spend it with you. I care too much about you to just throw the rest of my life away. I need to know if you want to spend the rest of your life with me. And then he's going to say whatever he says, right?
Yeah.
He may say yes, he may say no, he may say something to try to get through the moment, right?
Yes. Do you know what? I have told him that I love him. Do you know what he's answered me?
What?
I love to you.
I love to you?
To you. If it has any meaning, I don't know.
Well, it has probably some meaning, but it probably means...
You don't.
Never mind. I'm not going to make up what I think it means. Anything I say will be made up. So I'm going to have integrity and just assume that it doesn't mean I love you, because how you say that is, I love you.
I love you.
You don't say I love to you
I know.
if you mean I love you. So it means something other than that. Okay? Otherwise he would have said I love you.
Yes.
And so, he's never told you he loves you?
Yes, once he told me. I believe he cares about me, but I don't know if he loves me like I
Okay,
love
I got it. Do you love yourself?
Yes, I love myself.
Now,
Why
how do you know?
Yes, I know I love myself.
Well, I'm going to tell you how you know you love
I know
yourself.
that I deserve a good husband, and I know all of that.
No. Let's assume that you don't know. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to assume that you don't know how a person can tell if they love themselves. And I'm going to tell you why, because there's a lot of people that want to know this. Okay?
Okay.
How you know you love yourself is measured by the commitments that you are, in other words, promises or commitments, right?
Hmm?
The promises, let's say, that you're willing to make and keep. So you make promises to yourself or to others, and you keep those promises, and you can measure how much you love and respect yourself by how many of those promises that you make and keep. If you don't have any promises out there in the world, in other words, nobody's expecting anything of you, then you don't love yourself. If people expect a lot from you because you've made a lot of promises and you've given your word to a lot of projects and people and things and relationships, and you keep your word with them, then that means that your value for yourself and your word is high. You've got a high value on your life and a high value on who you are as a person. And when you have a high value on yourself as a person, you will not allow another person into your life that is not respectful and doesn't have as high a regard for yourself as you have. Women, particularly, will not allow a man to love them any more than they love themselves. So if you don't love yourself very much, then a man cannot love you more than you love yourself. Sorry, he can't do it. You will reject his love, you'll somehow find some way to deflect it, but he won't be able to find it in himself to love you more than you love yourself. When a woman has a great love of herself, meaning that she keeps her word everywhere, she makes promises, she keeps her word, she has boundaries. When she says no, it means no. When she says yes, it means yes. When she says I love you, it means truly I love you. You know, not like I want you to love me. A lot of women say I love you, but what they really mean is I want you to love me because I don't love myself. So if you love me, maybe I'll feel better about my miserable self. I'm not saying that's the case with you, okay? But I would invite you to look at what kind of person would spend her most fertile years, okay, from 24 to 33, her most fertile years, having great sex with a man who doesn't love her. And then, now that it's 33, pretty soon 34, and the fertility of your life is going to start to diminish, she wants to get married. So I'm going to ask you, do you really love yourself?
I understand all the things that you say, but in my personal life, I take care of myself.
Yes.
I go to work. I have educated myself here. I'm a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to go to a university 3 years. It hasn't been easy for me.
As a nurse, you're in the business of doing what?
I have worked first 1.5 medicine care. You know.
No, that's not what I was asking. As a nurse, you're in the business of taking care of other people.
Yes. I don't want to take care of him. I know lots of women want to take care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to take care of me.
You, yes. That would be a good way to direct the flow. And when I told you that it was difficult to change the direction, you see, this river's been flowing in this direction for a long time. Now you want it to kind of flow back in the other direction, and it's tough to turn something like that around.
Yes, right.
Okay? I'm just telling you, it's not an easy thing. But the first step, and I told you what it was, and it's not an easy one, stop having sex with him altogether. I care about you too much. I'm not going to throw any more of my life away. I need you to make a commitment and keep that commitment within a specific period of time. Not like I need you to make a commitment to me, and that means that he says, well, okay, let's get married someday. And you go, oh, fine, okay, great, I'm all better now. No, that's not a commitment. A commitment always has a time and a place. In other words, he says, I will marry you by August the 2nd of this year, or whatever. It's a specific date, it's a time, it's a place. It's not like, well, then let's get married. That's not a commitment. Do you understand the difference?
Yes, I am.
Okay, a lot of women hear what they want to hear, and then they say, oh, he loves me and he wants to marry me.
Yes.
No, all he said was, maybe let's get married or something.
It is my fault, but
yeah.
It's just that I can't take that decision. I can't...
Great, then guess what? You don't like the answer, but it's over. It is never going to go anywhere. If he cannot take that commitment after 9 years,
my life,
it's over. I'm sorry to say. I know it makes you unhappy because you think you love this guy, but you only love him as much as you love yourself.
Do you really think that it's like that I don't love myself?
Well, you're the one that told me that you spent 9 years with a guy that doesn't love you, and it wasn't just any old years. You know, if you were 50 years old and you told me I spent the last 9 years with a guy, I would say, well, great. If the sex was great and you're having a good time, then fine. You know, but if you're 33 years old and you've spent since you were 24 or something, you know, those are the years that women come into maturity, get married, and have children. It's just the natural cycle of life. It happens like that. I didn't make up that. I've just observed that that's what's so. Most women in those years are having a man get committed to them and make very firm promises about how they're going to live and how he's going to support them and where they're going to live and how many kids they're going to have and how they're going to raise those kids and what their life is going to look like and what he's going to do to make sure that that's going to happen. You don't got any of that from this guy. You got zero. You got some good sex, and that's about it. So I'm asking you, do you really love yourself, given how you've lived your life? Your life says something else.
Yeah. Another question, but how, I know it sounds stupid again, but...
I don't mean to ridicule you or put you down in any way, okay? I'm speaking strongly with you because I don't want you to spend another 2 or 3 years trying to figure this out. I'm telling you in no uncertain terms, if you want a commitment from this guy, you have to ask for it. And if you don't stop giving him everything, he's got the keys to your house and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got everything. He's got every privilege of a married man with none of the obligations. Why on earth should he oblige himself in any way with you? He has no compelling reason to, unless he really does love you, which is a possibility. It may be, and maybe he's just afraid of being committed. But a man makes commitments. A boy goes, oh, I don't know, I can't really take that step. My God, you know, who would want to be in a relationship with a full-grown man that talks like that anyhow?
But how can I go? How can a woman go? How can I go on with my life to forget him? Stop comparing him with other guys and just forget him. I have so hard to forget.
It's your life. Listen, are you pretty?
Yes, I am pretty.
Well, I tell you something, you've got the international gold card. You're smart, you're pretty, you speak several languages. Do you have your own money?
Yes, I have on my money, I have on my apartment.
You got an apartment, you got a car?
Yes.
You got friends?
Yes, I got friends too.
Yeah. You got it made. Listen, there's thousands of guys. Some of them are watching this show right now like, where is she? Right? There's thousands of guys that would love to meet a woman just like you. A smart, pretty Iranian woman that has her own career, her own money, speaks several languages, is educated and articulate. You know, there's guys out there looking for you.
You're trying to give me self-confidence?
Well, I'm just telling you like it is. If I had enough time to stay on this show, which I don't, it's going to be over in a few minutes, I bet you guys would start calling in wanting to know where you're at.
Oh, so sweet of you.
Okay? You just get on with your life. Listen, if this guy's in his 40s and he can't make a commitment, he is not going to start tomorrow.
It's wrong, isn't it?
He's not going to start. He's not going to start now. Listen, commitment is something that you learn about when you're in your 20s. And then by the 30s, you kind of get some practice at it. And in your 40s, you're committed all over the place because you've learned to have the guts to say, I'm going to do this before you figure out how you're going to do it. That's what a commitment is. A commitment isn't a sure deal. You take a chance. Everything you do is a chance. Right?
Yeah.
When you signed the contract to buy your apartment or your house, you said, I'm going to pay for this, and if you don't, you can take my house away, right? You don't know how you're going to pay for it. You're not sure. Maybe something could happen, but you make that commitment, and then you make sure it happens. Well, that's what marriage is like. You don't know how you're going to do it. You just do it. He doesn't have the guts to do that with somebody he's been in love with, apparently, or in some kind of intrigue with for the last...
Takes responsibility for himself, then he doesn't...
He's immature. He's not ready to get married.
Responsibility for another person either.
Yeah, now you might be the person that turns his life around. So I'm just telling you, it's not impossible. It's just difficult to turn around.
Yes, I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's like giving somebody the keys to your car and say, drive it all you want, and then, you know, after 9 years say, hey, I want you to pay me in full the brand new price of that car.
Okay, thank you.
You know, and they're like, well, I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Right?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
That's a tough sell. Okay?
We will see.
We will see.
You
are in my prayers. You and all the women like you have given away their fertile years to uncommittable men and now want to try to get those guys to marry them. Please, hey, you got to cut them off and start all over, okay?
Okay. Say hello from me to your wife.
It is done.
Thank you for your wonderful show.
Thank you.
So
Thanks
much.
for your calls.
از مهمانی‌های یک نواخت و مشابه دلسرد و خسته شدید؟ از اینکه تنها جایی برید خجالت می‌کشید؟ دلتون می‌خواد یک محیط سالم، بسیار شاد، گرم و صمیمی و خالص تجربه کنید و دوستی‌های سالم تشکیل بدید؟ سال نو رو با راهی نو و محیطی خارق‌العاده تجربه کنید. از شما دعوت می‌کنیم تا در بالماسکه نوروزی فارغ التحصیلان کارگاه‌های آموزشی امبریس گروث روز 30 ماه مارچ در هتل لمریدین دلفینا سانتا مونیکا ساعت 7 عصر شرکت کنید. این جشن بالماسکه نوروزی همراه با شام، موسیقی زنده، رقص، مسابقه و برنامه‌های بسیار متفاوت، شبی بسیار متفاوت برای شما خواهد ساخت. بلیط‌های خود را همین امروز از وبسایت و یا اپلیکیشن Embrace Growth تهیه کنید و یا با شماره 310 460 2600 تماس بگیرید. در کارگاه‌های آموزشی بانوان به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان با دستیابی به اهمیت و ارزش واقعی خود، قدرت زنانگی و آرامش خود را بازیابید. تورنتو 15 تا 17 مارچ، اروپا 26 تا 28 آپریل، ایروان ارمنستان 31 اکتبر تا 2 نوامبر، لس آنجلس 13 تا 15 سپتامبر. 310 460 2600.
Welcome to the all-new EmbraceGrowth.com. You'll have access to all the content you love at the click of a button. Videos of seminars, events, and the ability to sign up for workshops. Direct access to digital downloads right from your mobile devices. Stay in the know and see our latest graduate events. Watch your favorites anytime, anywhere. Visit us today at EmbraceGrowth.com.
برنامه دنیای عشق با دکتر آزیتا سایان، برنامه‌ای که تمامی سوالهای شما را جواب می‌دهد. ازدواج، عشق، سکس، همجنسگرایی، فرزندان، والدین، خیانت. از یوتیوب لایو استریم، فیسبوک و اینستاگرام لایو. سه شنبه ها و پنج شنبه ها 10 شب به وقت ایران و 10:30 صبح به وقت لس آنجلس. تلفن تماس با استودیو 818 532 66 55. یک مرد منحصر به فرد، مسلط، متمرکز، قابل اعتماد و رضایتمند باشید. کارگاه شرافت، عزت کلام و مهارت به رهبری دکتر آزیتا سایان. ایروان ارمنستان 15 تا 17 آگوست. تورنتو 20 تا 22 سپتامبر. اروپا 18 تا 20 اکتبر. 310 460 2600.